Okay, last time we did electric potential and we did some numericals also on that. Electric potential is a scalar, that is a kind of work done. Then V is equal to W by Q. The SI unit of potential is volts denoted by V. Due to a single charge, the formula V is KQ by R, small r, where K is actually 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So all that we did last time. And we found also the electrostatic potential energy. What was the formula of electrostatic potential energy? That is denoted by U. U formula was K Q1 Q2 by R. So any kind of energy or work is scalar. So we will not bother the direction because scalar does not have direction. But we will bother the sign. If there are charges with the negative, if the charges are having negative sign, we will be taking the negative sign and we will not take direction here. And if you have to add more than one scalar quantity, then we have to simply add them without using the law of vectors, without breaking into components, without applying any Pythagoras theorem and all. Simple addition will take place. So that's what we have to remember. We'll do one more question on the previous chapter and then we start new chapter, Gauss theorem. One question is also important here, you can just have an idea about it. Question says, there is an equilateral triangle where the charges are Q1, Q2, Q3 placed at the vertices of the triangle A, B, C, and the side of the triangle is given A. And question is asking, find the electrostatic potential energy of the system of the charges as shown in the figure. Find the electrostatic potential energy of the system of the charges shown in the figure. That means total value of U you have to find, right? U is equal to, U means potential energy. So we will check how many potential energy will be there. Between any two charges will take one like this. Between these two will be first potential energy, between these two will be second potential energy, and between these three will be third potential energy. There will be three potential energies and all we have to add simply. That means U is equal to, we can add directly K Q1 Q2 by, formula is R is the distance is A over here. Here we can add K Q2 Q3 by A, Q2 Q3 by A, distance, and the last one we will be writing here K Q, these two, that means we can add in any order Q1 Q3 by A. You can take K by A as common, we can write this as Q1 Q2 Q2 Q3 Q1 Q3 is answer, that is answer. By the way, if they give the values, if they give the value of plus 1 microcoulomb, by the way, if the values are given, now we can put those values and find the answer. K value will be 9 into 10 power of 9. Suppose A is given 10 centimeter, we will take 0.1 here. Q1, Q2, so this is 1 and this is 2, and 1 into 2 will multiply. 1 into 2 will become 2. This is microcoulomb, so 10 to the minus 6, this is also 10 to the minus 6. Multiply 10 to the minus 6, 10 to the minus 6 become 10 to the minus 12. Between these two again you will take, suppose this is 3. 2 into 3 you will do here. And 10 to the minus 6 into 10 to the minus 6 also will multiply by 10 to the minus 12. And like that you will do calculation. If any charge is negative, we will take the sign also. Suppose this one is negative 1. So this minus and plus sign will become minus here. That way we will calculate. We will take the sign of the charge also. Because we are not taking the direction. We are not marking attraction, repulsion or breaking components and all. We are not doing because it is scalar. If all the charges are equal, suppose Q, Q, Q and the distances are also same, the answer will come K, Q1, Q2, that is Q, Q become Q squared by A. Again K, this also will be same, K, Q squared by A, K, Q squared by A. We can directly write answer 3K, Q squared by A. And if the value of Q is given and A value is given, we can put those values and calculate the answer in numerical form. So that is, this type of question is also important. One more question is there on this. They may show a diagram like this. There is a square. There is a square having the side A charges are all equal placed, Q, 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 and they are asking find the electrostatic potential energy of the system of the charges shown in the diagram. Find total potential energy or electrostatic potential energy. Find total electrostatic potential energy. That is total U you have to find. Can you guess how many potential energy will be there? Between these two, there will be first potential energy. Between these two, second potential energy. Between these three, third potential energy. Between these two, fourth potential energy. But potential energy will not be only 4, it will be like this also, this way also, fifth, and like this also will come 6. Between any two charges, different ways we can take. So there will be altogether 6 potential energy. 4 sidewise and 2 diagonals, 1 here, 2 diagonals. So 6 potential energy will be there, don't forget that. So we will be writing all sides potential energy will be equal. We can directly write here 4 times of K, Q1, Q2 you can multiply, become Q squared by A. This is all about 4 sides we did. All about 4 sides we have done directly. Now there will be 2 diagonals and diagonals will be equal like this. Like the diagonals charges are same, the distance is same. So we will be writing a 2 of the diagonal. K, this into this, Q squared. Diagonal distance is different. Remember, diagonal distance is root 2a. So out here I write root 2a. We cannot write directly 6 times of K Q squared by A because the distance of the diagonal is different. So we will be writing at 2 K Q squared by root 2a. Now we can take common and simplify. These two we can add root 2 times and cancel it once. Here you can add 4 Q squared by A. This becomes root 2 K Q squared by A. You can take common K Q squared by A is common answer. The value of total potential energy will be K Q squared by A bracket 4 plus root 2. If they give the values like Q value is given 1 microcoulomb and all, so you can put that value 1 into 10 to the minus 6 square. K value is 9 into 10 power of 9. Side is given whatever. We will change that in meter and write. And 4 plus root 2 will calculate and write the unit for U as joule because it is a kind of energy. We will give the unit joule. So this type question also you may expect. Most of the students they will think that there are 4 sides. They will calculate 4 types of potential. 4 of these they will write, and they will not do about the diagonals. But here you have to take the diagonals also. Okay. Now we are starting new chapter, that is Gauss theorem. Gauss theorem. The name of the chapter is Gauss theorem. In Gauss theorem, first you have to learn some definition. The definition is, first definition is electric flux. Electric flux, that is denoted by the symbol phi. Phi, sometimes people write phi or sometimes they write like this. This is called psi, psi, psi. So you can write either phi or like this kind of symbol. This is called psi. We'll follow this one. Phi. Phi is the standard one. We'll follow that. What is electric flux? Flux means lines of force, and this is electric, so electric lines of force. You can have magnetic lines of force and magnetic flux also. That is called magnetic flux. What is electric flux? We say the lines of electric lines of force passing normally through a surface. Electric lines of force passing normally means perpendicularly, normally through a surface is called electric flux. It is measured by, you can write down, it is measured by the dot product, dot or scalar product between electric field vector E and electric field vector E and area vector or surface area you can write or just at area and area vector A. Area vector we can denote either by A, capital A, or by S. S means surface area, or simply if you write A, that A means area. It's all the same. You can use any of the symbols. Therefore, we write here. Therefore, phi is equal to, we will be writing like this: E dot A. Dot product. Dot product means scalar product. And if we expand it, it becomes like this: phi is equal to EA cos theta, where theta is the angle between E and A. Electric field vector and area vector. Theta is the angle between the two vectors. Now, the SI unit of phi, SI unit of electric flux phi. We can check from the equation what can be the SI unit of phi. From this equation you can see and write down. Electric field, we write Newton per coulomb force upon charge. You can do like this: Newton per coulomb, and A is area. You can write here Newton per meter square per coulomb. This is one way we can express, or the other way we can express it like this. Or electric field, the other unit of electric field is volt per meter. Here we can write here volt per meter into area is meter square. Meter will cancel. The answer will become volt meter. V dash m, volt into meter. Volt into meter. That is it. So, what is the SI unit of electric flux? You can say Newton meter square per coulomb, or volt into meter, voltmeter. Don't say volt per meter. Volt per meter is electric field. But this is, the answer is coming voltmeter. Volt into meter, Vm. That is the SI unit of phi. And this phi is a scalar quantity, because this is this dot product means the answer will be a scalars. And phi is scalar. Phi is scalar. That means if there are more than one phi, more than the value of phi is more than 1, and like phi 1, phi 2, phi 3, phi 4 we are having. So how to find the total flux? Simple addition, because it's scalar. We will not go by the law of vectors. We will not break into components. We will be simply adding. As many fluxes are there, so we will be simply add them, and we will get the value of total flux. So it is a scalar quantity. Okay, one question like how to find the value of this area vector. Area vector value, how to make area vector, and how to take the value theta there. So please learn about that. What is area vector and how do we take the angle theta? For that you have to learn some diagrams over here. I'll just show you. Suppose I will be drawing a surface like this. This is the surface. Circular surface like this way. The surface is like this, like vertical circle like this. And the lines of force is going like this. This is the lines of force. Electric field is acting in this direction. We'll be drawing. We have to take area vector, and area vector is drawn. Area vector is taken by drawing a normal to the surface. Normal means perpendicular to the surface, directed away. So that is out here. You can take the surface anywhere out here and draw normal. Normal means perpendicular to the surface like this. Perpendicular, that means we can write an n cap. N cap. You have to, n means normal. Normal to the surface. That means this is like this. Here is the normal like this. This is the normal. If I take the duster like this, if this is the surface, what is the normal to it? This is the normal. So you have to draw the n cap like this. This is the value of n cap. This is the direction of area vector. N cap means unit vector. That means that represents area vector. If the surface is like this, then this is the normal vector. If the surface is down, so this is the normal vector. If the surface is like this is the normal vector, this side. This is the surface, this is the normal vector, perpendicular to this surface, perpendicular to this surface. Similarly, Similarly, we can say in this diagram, E and N, they are parallels. What is the value of theta over here? Theta value will be 0 degree here in this case. That means cos 0 degree is 1, that is maximum. That means the electric flux value will be maximum. All the flux will pass through this. If the surface like all the lines of force is going like this, they all will pass out. They all will pass through the surface. But on the other hand, if I take the surface like this, horizontal circle like this way, horizontal like this, and the lines are given this way, this is the line. Electric field lines are going like this, this is E. Where is the normal? Normal will be coming like this, this is the normal vector. Normal vector. That is area vector. How much is the angle between E and N? The angle between them is 90 degree. This time the value of theta is 90 degree. Theta 90 degree, that means you have to use cos. In the formula is EA cos theta, cos 90 degree, and cos 90 degree is 0. The entire thing becomes 0. That means what is the value of flux through the surface? 0. Matter of comment, suppose the circle is like this, line is going like this. Do you think any line will be able to pass through it? It will be blocked by the surface. It will not be able to pass through it. If this is like this, if the surface is like horizontal and line is coming this way, it is getting blocked. This is the surface, so line will not be able to pass through it. So this is how we calculate the value of theta. Area vector, that means you have to draw normal to the surface area. And between n cap or normal vector and E, whatever is the angle, so that angle is the value of theta here in this case. Sometimes the figure may be like this, just figure is supposed given like this way. This is the figure, this is the surface, and the lines are going like this. This is the electric field direction, this way. You have to draw normal. Normal you draw, okay, like this is the normal. Normal will be coming like this. Normal means perpendicular to this surface now. Normal. This angle you have to take. This angle value may be 30 degree, maybe 60 degree, maybe 45 degree. That angle we will be taking as the value of theta. And then we will be using the formula phi is equal to EA cos theta. That means area vector is, how do we take the area vector and the angle? Area vector is taken by drawing a normal to the surface. And between the n cap and the n cap is area vector, and whatever is the angle, that angle will be taken as the value of theta. And then we calculate the value of phi. So there is an important question on this. So you can write it down. Find the question says, find the net flux. Find the net flux passing through the following hollow cylindrical conductor of radius r, small r, and length L in the uniform electric field capital E, as shown in the following figure. This question is very famous of CBSE board, so this is quite important question. And they have given a figure like this. Uniform electric field is given by these parallel lines. This is given. Uniform is the value of electric field is same everywhere, and they are showing you a hollow cylindrical conductor like this way. This is the length L given. Radius is given R. This is quite an important question. Here is the figure given, and the question is asking you find the electric flux passing through this hollow conductor in the uniform electric field. Length of the conductor given and the radius of the conductor is given. So how to do flux? Now we are finding answer now, right? Phi total, or you can write phi net. Net means net flux, that is total flux. Phi net equal to. We see how many surfaces are there in this conductor. I'll say there are three surfaces. Two circular and one curved surface, like this round one. Curved surface. The round one is curved surface, like this the tail. One surface here, and this one sideways. That is called curved surface or lateral surface. So there are three surfaces, there will be three flux. We can take the surfaces like this. This is the right side surface, we write phi right. This is left, we write phi left. And this is curved surface, we write here phi curved. So I will phi net value, I will be writing like this: phi right plus phi left plus phi curved. There are three surfaces, so there will be three flux. And all we are adding simply without marking direction and all, because this is scalar. Simple addition will take place. Phi right, the formula of phi right will be again E into area. Formula is area. I'll take the area of this surface. What is the area of this surface? Area, this is circular surface. Area formula is pi r square. So I'll get E into pi r square cos theta. Theta value will take for this surface. What is the value of theta? We'll draw normal vector. Normal vector is coming like this. What is the angle between this A and E? They are parallel. That means 0 degree. Phi left value again I will take E into area. Area of this is also circular. Pi r square, same formula. And here the normal vector will come like this, directed away from the surface, directed outward. Because lines of force never goes inside the conductor, so it will be always going outward. This is, if this goes like this, it will go inwards. That's why it is going like this. It will always go outward from the surface. It should not go inside. So n cap is over here. The angle between n cap and E, they are in opposite direction. One is like this and another one E is going like this. That means angle is 180 degree. When opposite direction they are, so the angle theta value will be 180 degree. Plus phi curved. I will be writing answer here E. Curved surface formula we have 2 pi r into L. If it is h, I will write it 2 pi r h. Just now I write 2 pi r L. An angle I will take now, cos of the angle. What is the angle out here? The angle will be like this, n cap here. This surface and this n cap. What is the angle? 90 degree. Here the angle is 90 degree. Now we will do the calculation. Cos 0 degree is 1, so this answer will come like this, E into pi r square. Cos 180 is minus 1. So here we can add E into pi r square and minus 1. Cos 90 degree is 0, the entire thing becomes 0. Your answer will become E pi r square and minus like this, E pi r square minus E pi r square. The answer is 0. So, the value of net flux passing through this conductor is 0. That is the answer. So this question may carry 2 marks. This is 2 marks question. Okay. Next one is, suppose I will just show you one more case. You can just only have a look at it. Like this. Electric field is given. Now the cylinder is shown like this. This is the hollow cylinder shown in this manner. Very thin cylinder and this line like this. Thin cylinder. It is very thin, that's why the lines of force is able to penetrate through it. Normally it does not go inside, but this is very thin cylinder, so we are assuming that it is able to penetrate through this cylinder. Thin cylinder we are taking. The radius is R, length is L. If they ask you find the net flux passing through the thin cylinder as shown in the figure. So how to find? This time again we have three surfaces, these two circular and this is curved. So we'll be taking 5 top, 5 bottom and 5 right side. There are 5 curves you can take directly. 5 net is 5 total. 5 net is equal to, we are writing a 5 top for the top surface, 5 electric flux for the bottom, and 5 for the curved surface we'll take. And now we'll calculate 5 top, that will be coming E into pi r square. We'll check the angle. What is the value of n cap? N cap value comes like this. Angle between this and electric field, which is angle 90 degree. Cos 90 degree, right? Here I'll let E into again pi r square. And angle I'll check again here. This is the going like this, n cap. Angle is again 90 degree. Cos 90 degree. And this is curved surface, we'll go like this, n cap. E to curved surface formula we have 2 pi Rn, and here the angle is 0 degree. N cap and the angle is 0 degree. Now we'll find answer now. Cos 90 degree is 0, the entire thing becomes 0. Again cos 90 is 0, this thing becomes 0 at 0 plus 0. And cos 0 is 1. This is answer left over. We can write answer like this, 2 pi LRE. That means 5 net value will come this much. 2 pi LRE. This becomes the value of net flux here in this case. In this case, answer will not come 0. Previous case, when it is like this, they are showing that the answer comes 0. We already calculated and I have shown you. So, this is about electric flux. How we calculate EA cos theta, angle we have to take. And theta value, how do we take? By drawing a normal vector to the surface, and we'll check the angle between normal vector and E. So for that idea, I did these two problems. The first case is important one. Second case, this case may not be that important, but the first case is important. Now we are into the another topic. Now this is the statement of Gauss theorem. Gauss theorem. Statement. Gauss theorem states that we can, after writing Gauss theorem, we will given the heading connected straight away like this. It states that the net flux, it states that the net flux of a closed surface, net flux of a closed surface is equal to, net flux of a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught, 1 upon epsilon naught, like this, 1 by epsilon naught times 1 by epsilon naught times 1 by epsilon naught times of the net charge, enclosed by the surface. Net charge enclosed. The word enclosed is the must. Enclosed by the surface. Once again I repeat, it states that the net flux, or you can add net electric flux, you can add net electric flux, you write better electric flux because it's all about electricity. The net electric flux of a closed surface is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times of the net charge enclosed by the surface. Therefore, mathematically we will be writing, therefore phi is phi net, total flux. Phi net will be equal to 1 by epsilon naught times of summation of Q, sum of all the charges. Enclosed, here we will be writing enclosed also. Next time we can write as phi net equal to 1 by this one, sigma Q enclosed. sigma q enclosed. This one, sigma q into 1, this is the mathematical statement of Gauss theorem. If you cannot write the statement in words, but if you can write on the equation phi net is equal to sigma q enclosed by epsilon naught, you will get full marks. No marks deduction will take place, which is of 1 mark. Question may come state Gauss theorem. But for a good student, they write both. They write the statement as well as the mathematical form of the Gauss theorem. That will be a better answer. But don't forget to mention enclosed. Enclosed what is the must? Charge enclosed by the surface. What kind of surface? Closed surface. Okay. You can, if they are saying that there are charges plus q and minus q, that is a dipole. A dipole is placed in a cube. A dipole is placed in a cube. What is the flux emerging out of the cube? The answer will be 0. Why? Because in a dipole we have the two charges. One is plus q and another will be minus q. What is the sum of the charges? Plus q minus q, the answer is coming 0. The sum of all the charges is coming 0. That is flux value will be 0. So we are using Gauss theorem. This question had come in ISC once. They were asking a dipole is placed in a cube, closed cube. What is the flux emerging out of the cube? The answer is 0. Direct answer is 0 because dipole will have two charges equal in value but opposite in sign, and here you are taking sum of all the charges, simple addition. Taking the plus and minus and also then plus q minus q, the answer will be 0. What is the net flux emerging out of a neutral atom? Neutral atom. Atom will have equal, neutral atom will have equal number of electrons and equal number of protons. So the total charge become again 0. That's why it's neutral. So flux value will be 0. What is the flux coming out through a conducting surface? The conducting surface is not charged, uncharged conductor. The answer will be again 0 because uncharged conductor will have neutral atom, that means number of electrons and number of protons will be equal. The answer will be 0. So this is Gauss theorem, and then this statement is important. Here you must set phi net and here you must set sigma q enclosed. Enclosed word is very important here. Then next heading you can give below is Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface. Gaussian surface is the surface related to Gauss theorem, or the surface which follows Gauss theorem is called Gaussian surface. As simple as that, for which this formula is applicable. Phi net will be equal to sigma q enclosed by epsilon naught. Such a surface is called Gaussian surface. What are the essential properties of a Gaussian surface? Essential properties. You can give the heading. Essential properties, that is important. Gaussian surface. Surfaces essential property. You can mention that essential property. Essential property. Properties. Number one, Gaussian surfaces. Apostrophe S, essential properties. First one you write, it is a closed surface. The surface has to be closed surface because this formula is applicable only for closed surface. It is a closed surface. That is the point number 1. Point number 2. The Gaussian surface always passes through, the Gaussian surface always passes through the point where electric field is to be calculated or determined. Where electric field is to be calculated or determined. That is second important property. Third one. It has symmetry. It has symmetry. S-Y-M-M-E-T-R-Y. It has symmetry to the shape of charges. It has symmetry to the shape of charges. So that electric field is always normal to the surface. Under bracket you can write normal to the surface, under bracket you write theta equal to 0 degree always. For any point on the surface we'll have the value theta equal to 0 degree. So these are the three essential properties of Gaussian surface. If question 1 year they had given, mention one essential property of Gaussian surface. So you can mention out of the three, you can mention any one of them. But my suggestion is the last one you can mention. Last one is the better one. For Gaussian surface, the value of theta will be always 0 degree. And it is symmetrical to the shape of the charges. If a charge is point is like a circle, no, or a sphere in 3 dimension. It is closed figure means that is 3 dimensional. So the point is like a small sphere, a sphere of 0 radius. So for this the Gaussian surface will be a sphere passing through the point where you are finding the electric field. If the conductor is, or if the charge body is in the form of a line. What is the shape of a line? Do you know what is the shape of a line? Line is like a cylinder. Line is having a cylindrical surface with 0 radius. For this the Gaussian surface will be a cylinder enclosing the line. And if the surface is rectangular, then the Gaussian surface will be a cube, or it can be square. A closed surface you have to go for a if it is square also it will be a cube or cuboid. So it has symmetry to the nature of the shape of the charges. Whatever shape the charge body is having, so it will be symmetrical to that. It will be identical to that. That means shape will be almost same. Okay, these are the important properties of Gaussian surface. Now they have reduced the syllabus and only 2 things they have given. Only 2 derivations are there now in this chapter, Gauss's theorem chapter. That is, we can give the heading of application of Gauss theorem. Application of Gauss theorem. Application of Gauss theorem. They have reduced and further reduced the syllabus, and in the further reduced syllabus, I checked, they are saying only about 2 derivations. Before, last year and all, there used to be 6-7 derivations. Now they have cut short and only 2 derivations are there now. So now it has become quite simple now. Number 1, electric field E at a point due to linear charge. That is number 1. Due to linear charge. What is called linear charge? Linear charge will be in the form of a line which will contain charges. Like we'll take a long glass rod, thin glass rod, like this thin glass rod will be thin but long. So that is called linearly charged conductor. So this linearly charged conductor charges will be giving like this. You can give positive charge or negative charge. I'll give positive charge everywhere. And total charge is given Q distributed over the entire length. Let us take the length of this line is L. The length of this linearly charged conductor is L. So this line is a kind of cylinder. So what kind of Gaussian surface? And you are finding the electric field at a point P. Let us take the point P over here. The distance of the point P from here is R, and we are interested in calculating electric field E at this point due to this line charge, due to this linear charge. So for that we will be drawing as I told you, the Gaussian surface passes through the point where we have to calculate the electric field. So we will be drawing the Gaussian surface for it. Gaussian surface will be symmetrical, that means it will be cylinder like this. It is a cylinder. Dotted line we are making because Gaussian surface we are making like assuming it's like this way. So right here by Gauss's law, first we write here by Gauss's law or Gauss's theorem, we have what? Phi. There is only one phi, only one surface is there, this surface. So phi is equal to, only phi curve is there. So phi is equal to, we will be writing here first charge. What is the charge enclosed by this surface? Charge enclosed by, total charge enclosed is Q, right here Q by epsilon naught. This is the equation I am writing from Gauss's law. This phi value we have according to definition E into A and cos theta. But theta value is 0 degrees, cos 0 degrees is 1. So we are not going to take that. The phi value you can write directly here E into area. Cos 0, if you want you can write, because for Gaussian surface theta is always 0 degree. So E is equal to that Q by epsilon naught. That E. Area. What is the area of this surface? Area of this surface. This is the curved surface. Area of this surface will be 2 pi RL. 2 pi RL is equal to Q by epsilon naught. Therefore, making E the subject of formula, your answer will be like this: Q by 2 pi epsilon naught L by R. Sorry. Like this. Q by 2 pi epsilon naught LR. Next line we will be writing is E equal to Q upon L. Q distributed over the entire length L, that we denote by a symbol lambda. Q by L, write here lambda, and here we will be writing 2 pi epsilon naught R. Right here, where lambda is equal to Q by L. This lambda is called linear charge density. Linear charge density. This lambda is called linear charge density, Q by L. So this becomes the formula of electric field. Lambda by 2 pi epsilon naught R. But for the sake of convenience, we know 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught is K, and the value which is 9 into 10 power of 9. So this one very often we write like this: E equal to multiply by 2 divided by 2. It will become 2 lambda by this much. 1 by like this. 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught into 2 lambda by R. Because 2 and 4 cancel, you get the previous thing back. So very often it is expressed in this manner. Very often. They may give multiple choice question, and in the choice they will not give this, they will give this way. Because 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught gives something standard value, that is K, and the value of K is 9 into 10 to the power of 9. That is Coulomb's law. We have this constant of 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So in that format they will give. If they give in that format, you write 2 lambda by R. Otherwise, for derivation sake, we can do till here. You may not show this. This is a desirable step. But in MCQ question, they will give the choices in this format. Remember. So this is one derivation. Question becomes state Gauss's theorem. So you give the statement. Use this theorem to find electric field E at a point due to a linear charge. So what that derivation is shown. The question, or directly the question will ask you, using Gauss's law, determine the electric field E at a point due to linear charge. So we'll draw the diagram and calculate, show the working till. This is one derivation in syllabus, and the second derivation in syllabus is over here. Electric field E at a point due to a charged plate or sheet. Plate or sheet is same thing. Charged plate or charged sheet. You can write here due to an infinitely charged plate or sheet. Due to infinitely charged plate or sheet. This is the second derivation. Now you have in syllabus, in the reduced syllabus. So for that we'll draw a charged plate. Let us draw a charged plate like this. Plate thickness is very small as compared to the length. We are giving a kind of charges here, maybe positive charges we are giving Q, and the area is A. Okay. We will take a point P near it where we are going to find the electric field. The Gaussian surface out here at this point, suppose this is the point P here, but it is very thin. The charge will be behaving as both the sides, this side also and the other side also. Both the side it will act as. So P is one point here, one point at the same distance. We can take this side as P dash. Same distance here and same distance here. Now there are two surfaces here like this. One surface in the back side, one is the front side like this. Or you can take right side and the left side. This is right side and this is the left side. We write here phi net will be equal to phi right plus phi left. Phi net, I will be using the Gauss theorem formula. Phi net formula is Q by epsilon naught. I will write that. Phi right formula will be EA cos theta, but theta is 0 degree. I write here EA. This is also the same surface we are writing EA. These two we can add up. It becomes Q by epsilon naught 2EA, making E the subject. The value of E will become Q by 2 epsilon naught A. Continuation little bit here. E equal to Q by A, charge distributed over this area. Charge distributed over this area is denoted by a symbol like this. This symbol is read as sigma. Sigma by 2 epsilon naught. We can mention here where sigma is equal to Q, charge upon area. And this is called surface charge density. Surface charge density. Surface charge density. Sigma is equal to Q by A. Surface charge density. And the previous case it was linear charge density because it was Q was distributed over the length. So Q by A, and that was denoted by lambda. And the lambda unit is coulomb per meter. And sigma unit will be charge upon area formula, and the unit will be coulomb per meter square. Coulomb per meter square, the unit for this. And this is the formula of a charged plate or in charged sheet. The formula is E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So this is the derivation which you have now in the syllabus. One extra question is there on the basis of this formula E is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Please write it down, and then little numerical is there. This chapter is over actually. So tomorrow we'll do little numericals on it, and then we'll be starting new chapter, and new chapter will be capacitors. Okay, this much for the day.